What's up, everyone? I'm Seth Ellinger. This is the Music Tech Meetup. Yeah. And this is like a really small space, but it's kind of awesome. It's like intimate. Yeah. This is how New York rolls. I mean, we're used to it, right? But the theme for tonight is creating a deeper connection. I think the meetup is actually the best way to create a deep connection. I mean, all of us getting together, being in the same room, being able to talk to each other, being able to see each other's faces. It's important. It's important on so many levels. I won't even get deep into it. But then we all live in this tech space, and we're all creating products that are trying to do that. And so I'm excited for each and every demo, except my own. And what should I say about that? I'm not gonna go too much into it, I guess. This will be the first time that I'm demoing since forming this meetup group, so bear with me. I might cry. And but let's just kick it off. We've got a musical performance. Is Jay around?
Yes.
You ready? Okay, let's do it.
Yo, yo. How you guys doing tonight? Very excited to be here. My name's Jay. I'm a rapper from New York City, from the Upper East Side. No one says it like that, though. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to Seth and Music Tech for having me. This is really cool. Checked out some of the apps before I got here, and really exciting stuff. Shout out to Song Trust too. But I'm gonna do a couple songs. This first song is for anyone who's ever taken an awkward elevator ride, and it's called Elevator Music. Elevator going up, elevator going down. All the people stand still, nobody making a sound. Go to push a button, everybody look around, but nobody make a sound. Walked in the elevator feeling like Beyonce. Get money, do the dishes, that's what my mom say. Never been a player, but they know me up at John Jay. Okay, see you later, time to do some bomb, yeah. Better now I'm Jay Gandhi out in Bombay. Riding through the city on time like Ashante, Dante. Cause I've been going through hell. Never knew a person who could spew verses so well. And if you did, yeah, well I believe you too. But I've been sick, dwelling on the evening news. And these dudes can eat a dick who refuse to applaud. The only god that's golden now shoots through the jaws. I'm putting on other rappers like the Russian prick. Doing all the stats and Robitussin quick. Tell her I'm a Mac, then I bust in 6. This one is for the yak that I crush and sniff. Elevator going up, elevator going down. People stand still, nobody making a sound. Go to push a button, everybody look around, but nobody make a sound. Elevator going up, elevator going down. People stand still, nobody making a sound. Go to push a button, everybody look around, but nobody make a sound. Walked in the elevator feeling like Bruce Springsteen on the track, Sean McClain in the booth. Think I'm ripping a bit of my upper lip when I'm spitting. So this one is for all the chickens that I never committed, and the frequent times I give up and I wish that I would quit. I'm just grateful for the people who believed in what I did. High as potato pie, smiling at naked wild, feeling so alive. I survived a tornado, God. Where the heck was you when I was coming out swinging? Guess I got confused by the rules and the singing. Shout to YouTube and the views we gon' bring in. This one is for the honeys and the boobs that be wicked. Harold and Kumar, taking it too far. Drank a fifth of vodka, dare me to scuba dive. Sayonara to my old side. This the 100-mile journey heading for a gold mine. Elevator going up, elevator going down. People stand still, nobody making a sound. Go to push a button, everybody look around, but nobody make a sound. Elevator going up, elevator going down. People stand still, nobody making a sound. Go to push a button, everybody look around, but nobody make a sound. Yeah, nobody make a sound. Yeah, nobody make a sound. Yeah, nobody make a sound. Elevator going up, elevator going down. Thank you. So yeah, I'm gonna do a few more later, but that's called Elevator Music. My name's Jay Killa. I'll be back.
Awesome. And just quickly tell us like what you're working on, what you're up to, and.
I'm working on some new music. You can check out my mixtape. It's called, my last mixtape is called Talking Shit Volume 1. I'm not doing mixtapes anymore. I'm only doing singles. Released through DistroKid. Shout out to Pud. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at JKILA, or on Twitter the same at JKILA. And yeah, I'm working on music. I got shows. TV show.
Okay, awesome. All right, so you'll perform again at the end. Thank you. All right. Jacob. Okay. Quick word from. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
I'm in space right now.
Yeah, we're back to the VR.
Thanks, everybody. Welcome to the Downtown Music Publishing and Songtrust offices. Really appreciate you all coming out. So I appreciate you all squeezing in, and if there's any extra seats, please try to take them. If you haven't gotten a beer or wine, there's some over there, and there's some food in the back. If you don't know what Songtrust is, we help songwriters collect their royalties. We work with distributors, music publishers, lawyers, labels, managers, and represent nearly over 100,000 songwriters now. So, without further ado, back to Seth.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for hosting us.
Our pleasure.
Seriously. That is our biggest challenge, is always finding a cool space to do this in. So I really appreciate it. I also really want to thank Philip and DistroKid for becoming a sponsor of the meetup. Do you want to say a word?
I'm Philip. I run DistroKid. I became a sponsor because I just came to one of the meetups and I thought it was cool. And I emailed Seth and said, yo, I'd love to help out. DistroKid, if you don't know, we make it super easy to get your music onto iTunes and Spotify and Google Play and Amazon. Keep 100% of your royalties, and you can upload unlimited music for only $20 a year. Check it out.
Awesome. And with their help, we were able to return to having really good food, not just like pretty good food, but I mean, what do you all think of the sandwiches? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. So we're gonna kick it off with the Wave VR. You've seen it, but now you're gonna really see it, and then I really encourage you at the end to experience it. If you've never put on a VR helmet before, it's a whole other world. So I'll let you guys take it away. We have Adam and Tom.
Thanks, Seth. I'm Adam Arrigo. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Wave VR. I just want to say thanks for hosting us tonight to the New York Music Tech Meetup. We're actually based in Austin, Texas, so we're hanging out in the big city and having a blast. And this is Tom Kydell, who's going to be demoing the Wave tonight. A little bit about what we do. It's always awkward to show people in VR without actually being in it. It's like one of those things that's like kind of an impossible marketing problem. Like, Tom's going to be having a blast, and you'll be able to see what he sees, but it doesn't really take the place of actually doing it. So we're going to try to get as many people in after the demos tonight. So in addition, what we do is actually extremely abstract and kind of hard to conceptualize. But the short of it is, we're sort of like the world's first social platform for music concerts in VR. So actually, you guys probably know Turntable FM, which I believe is a New York-based company. So it's sort of like Turntable, except the DJs who are spinning the music are actually the real DJs who can upload their tracks to our platform and actually perform music in VR. And then we build the back end and the whole social accounts and platform system so that anybody who has an HTC Vive, an Oculus Rift, a Gear VR, Google Daydream, PSVR can actually be at the show if they put on a headset and have all these like kind of next level VR rave interactions. So Tom is going to show us some of the VR DJ features, and then some of my coworkers in Austin, Texas are going to jump in over the internet, and you'll see their avatars raving out with their crazy twirly twirls and fire spinners live in the virtual venue. So without further ado, I give you VR DJ Tom Kydell. Can we get a round of applause for... So Tom is actually he's having an out-of-body experience right now. He's in third person looking at his own avatar. So Tom, could you just flip between them real quick? So this is what Tom's seeing. This is his sort of like VR DJ deck. And So when Tom hits the like kind of third person button, he teleports outside his body. The other one. And so that's him. He's this sort of like smiley face, alien avatar, manning the virtual decks. And so to start the show, Tom's gonna hold down the side grip buttons. And so this is basically like an entry state. We're waiting for a couple people in Austin to join. I just texted them, so we're gonna see if they actually jump in. But I'll show you guys some of like the VR DJ features. So yeah, Tom basically has like 2 virtual decks. Those like balls behind him are his track. And so we can kind of build like the bare bones of like Traktor or Serato in this VR DJ interface. So he has like, you know, EQ, he has a filter. The 2 decks do like auto BPM syncing, so whatever he plays like sounds good. And these cubes to the left and right. So Tom, can you turn to your left? We call this the Chaos Cube. If you guys know the Chaos Pad, it's like control 2 parameters, like X and Y. So this thing controls 3 parameters in 3D space. So you can see it's low pass, bit crush, and flanger on all 3 axes. But one cool thing we do is actually like whatever audio effect he puts on the mix, you have a corresponding visual component. So Tom, could you kind of slowly move the cursor from the left to the right and put a bit crusher on it? So if you see, like, as he's applying the bit crusher, the world is actually becoming more pixelated, sort of like 8-bit video games. I'm a video game developer, so I think it's like super cool. And so actually, like, when people are networked into the audience, they see all the visual changes as well. So like, another thing Tom could do is control the entire environment, right? So Tom, why don't you like look up and then hit? Do you guys know why the audio sounds like it's being bandpassed in this like terrible way? Oh, okay. I know how to solve this problem. But pretend it sounds like awesome. It's the full frequency spectrum. You guys are in like the sweet spot. There's some sweet studio monitors playing. So, Tom, hit the side grip button to transform the entire world. So see how there are kind of all these visual states? If you kind of look forward, like all of those meshes are being generated by the audio. So based on like the amplitude, and then you take the FFT, different frequencies of the music, and generate like kind of these mountains based on the audio. So the whole like venue is kind of being created by the music that the DJ is playing. And this Chaos Cube has like a bunch of other effects. It's sort of like a noise filter that's making the visuals more like kind of white noisy. And yeah, so I actually don't see my co-founders in Austin in the venue. But so basically, like, we're building the tools to let people upload their music and also customize the visuals of the venue and kind of create these chat rooms where they can perform their music and actually like sell concert tickets and also like sell in-app purchases like in the form of virtual goods, like a variety of Tom Kydell avatars. If you were an actual VR DJ, he'd have a brand that he was trying to monetize. Oh, there they are. Sweet. Okay, so one of those guys is Aaron, my co-founder, and then there's Travis, one of the engineers of the project. So Tom can actually teleport into the audience to interact with them. So Tom, why don't you go out there? There you go. As an audience member, you have all these sort of like ambient like interactions you can do at the show. So you can like twirl these fire spinners, right? Like you're at a VR rave. And so like the main audience for the app is actually just music fans who want to experience these next level concerts. So he has like a virtual selfie stick, and they can take a photo and share it to Facebook. We're in the process of doing like a Facebook Live integration, so if you actually customize your avatar and had like a sense of identity, you could share this live to all your friends, and then they could figure out how to download the app and actually join the show. So that's like we just added these avatars, they're pretty cool. It's like a sweet fox. And we also have this thing called like virtual social trips, which because I'm not talking to VCs right now, like it's basically virtual drugs. And so we're trying to encourage people to have these like interactions with each other socially. Just stuff that you can do, like not stuff you can only do in VR is what we're interested in from a design and product standpoint. So at some point, one of these guys is gonna like hand Tom this sort of pill. Oh, there it is. And so Tom's gonna grab it, and now they're both gonna enter this timed audiovisual experience. So they both changed to blobs, right? Thank you. And he's in this sort of crazy shader world, and I just can't begin to tell you what it's actually like to experience this. It probably looks very abstract, but it it really does feel like you're doing drugs. Not like I would know. So yeah, that's basically like the bare bones of the experience. A little bit about the company. Like, it was actually started as a passion project between a couple of friends and I, and we started building some prototypes in VR to explore like what you can do in terms of music creation and music performance, with the goal of kind of bringing people together over the internet. Like one of the cool things about like the idea of a virtual concert is that of course it promotes better access to content. And so we're working with a number of sort of like big electronic artists to host the first series of virtual shows. So, you know, for example, if you're a Skrillex fan and you live in the Midwest, it's hard to see Skrillex unless you live in a city that he's touring. And so there are all kinds of like friction and gating factors around attending live shows, like cost, age, geographic location, fear of large crowds. But the thing we're trying to do is not just like, we're not trying to like replicate a live experience, but we're trying to do things you can only do in virtual reality using the medium. And so we're sort of at the beginning of knowing what the potential is. But I think for us, it's all about kind of like, truth be told, the virtual drug experience is a great example of what you can do with this new medium, which is like, you can give people these experiences they haven't been able to have unless they were on a lot of LSD, without killing their brain cells. So,
Hey. So let's go to questions. I'm sure you guys have some. Were you guys?
Oh no, that's it. I could ramble on forever.
Who's got questions?
Actually, could we have a round of applause for VR DJ Tom Kydell?
Okay. Come on. You guys you're just too floored right now. Okay.
Well, I have a comment. I think it's that's a really amazing concept of trying to do things that you can only do in VR, because my initial thought was that with the whole VR revolution with live experience was to bring people who can't make it to the show and kind of recreating, or I should say projecting what one can basically do a 360 like live stream. But I think that this is way better, at least within like the electronic dance music context and maybe some certain other genres.
Yeah, so there are actually a lot of other companies doing 360 like live action content, and it's a really easy business model to understand. You go to these shows, you make licensing deals, you set up a camera at the venue. It's a distribution platform, and then people get to experience the show at home. And we think that's super cool too. Like, I mean, I love the fact that I could see Tom York like front row in my boxers, like whenever. Like, I think that's awesome. But for us, like just as designers, and again, we're all video game developers. The creative potential of VR can go so much further beyond that. And I think a lot of developers right now in VR, we're kind of like at that point where film was when it started, where people were just setting up cameras, filming plays. And do you remember like that first example of the train coming forward in movie theaters, and it caused people to just gasp, and people are still kind of like, oh my God, VR is so amazing, but they haven't really figured out what the Citizen Kane, like the cuts mean from a design standpoint and interaction standpoint. So yeah, for us, we're always kind of like, let's not recreate reality in virtual reality because it's super expensive and it's really a kind of a fool's errand. But think about the things that like, you can only do in VR. like virtual drugs.
Three questions. First of all, what are the system requirements, both network-wise and local hardware? Second of all, you mentioned that you had to build a lot of the audio stuff yourselves. Is that because you found available open source libraries lacking, or for some other reason? And do you have a funding model? Do you expect to make money off this somehow?
Okay. Wait, what was number one?
Local
Oh, system requirements. Okay, yeah. So we're platform agnostic. Right now, our plan is to launch this on the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift. Our launch is scheduled for South by Southwest in March. If you all come on down to Austin, Texas, we're gonna have a crazy party with a bunch of VR DJs playing.
What kind of network?
Network, you need an internet connection. Currently, it's not too many. It's not too much bandwidth. We're really just sending. It's kind of like an MMO. We're using Photon, which is a kind of off-the-shelf Unity networking solution, and so it can work on mobile too. We have this working on the Gear VR. So I mean, extensively, you could be on the bus and pull out your phone as long as you have, 4G. You could be at the show. And then the second one, sorry.
Audio libraries.
Audio libraries, thank you. Yeah, we build a kind of a Unity-based audio engine that uses a lot of their native stuff. There are limitations to what it can do, and someone, if you had a music tech background, had a startup, should just build an amazing audio engine for Unity, because all of these developers now could really use that. I have a bunch of friends too in LA that are looking for something like this. We did enough to prop up the bare bones experience. We also have a way to just stream normal performances into the platform, which will actually be debuting tomorrow night at this venue called Jump Into the Light on East Village. So if you guys want to come to a bigger Jump Into the Light, it's kind of this online playtest we're doing, but you basically set up the Kinect camera. If you guys have used this, it's a depth sensing camera that can track your skeletal data, and then we stream that over the platform, and then on the client side, create point cloud volumetric visualizations of what you look like. And so tomorrow we're actually gonna have the guys playing guitar and sing.
Seth remembers the demo I did with Kinect.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Back in the day.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Long time
totally.
ago, yeah.
But the goal is to not have to teach everybody how to VR DJ. So if we're working with an artist who's on tour, we can just set up the Kinect, stream the audio over the internet, and then really the point is it's the audience platform. So it's about.
So you think there's a lot of room for development of audio libraries in this space?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, VR is it's exploding, and I think music is going to be. Some people are starting to begin to understand this, but it's going to be huge, and I think one of the most powerful use cases.
And like I said, the price model.
Oh, in terms of our company and stuff, we raised a few $1 million seed round.
Right, but are you expecting to sell a product, and if so, to whom?
Good question. We're still figuring that out. But I think we're
You can buy this on Steam, basically, right?
yeah, we're gonna distribute it via Steam and Oculus Home and all of those stores. But we're still trying to figure out exactly how it's gonna make money. There's some basic low-hanging fruit in-app purchases. It's gonna be free to download. Obviously, it's a social platform. But being able to buy virtual goods or merchandise, as we call it. Right, artist branded, trademarked.
Were you also considering?
Wait. Who else has questions?
Yeah, I could talk about the revenue model for everything.
Got a question in the back.
Hey.
Can you do you have an open API for your drugs, where you could
I love that.
Yeah, so it's funny you bring that up. Virtual drugs this feature only worked 12 hours ago, so we literally just propped it up. I have some other virtual drugs on my computer that are fucking incredible. It's some really good shit. But your point is so we worked with this amazing graphics programmer artist out of San Francisco named Kabibo, who's the only guy who knows how to do this sign distance field and raycast shaders, and it's amazing when you do it. And so I know tons of people like him and other people in the demo scene who are just amazing graphics programmers who we want to also at some point open up the platform for other people to make these experiences, even if it's just 1 minute into 1 minute shared visual experience in the venue, and actually be able to like sell that to users and do a rev split and stuff. So yeah, I think that's an awesome idea. But
Okay.
that means we are virtual drug dealers, which is
Yeah,
like,
but
you see like
that's
the
your
Rolling Stone.
merchandise.
Yeah,
That's- I
we're
mean,
just peddling
oh my
other
God.
people's drugs actually at this point.
Cool. Maybe one.
Saying that LSD kills brain cells, alcohol kills more brain cells.
I totally agree.
I agree. We're not supporting any drug officially.
How long have you what's the longest amount of time you spent in with the helmet on, you know?
Yeah, actually, people spend a long time in here. So if you have like 50 people in the virtual venue, you can also voice chat with other users. That's one feature we didn't show. But you just get lost in it. And there's this thing called time dilation, which psychologists are starting to study in relation to VR, where people have no idea how long they're actually spending in there, and it becomes distorted. So there's this one story of my friend Carl in San Francisco. He runs Silicon Valley VR, and he was playing this tower defense game and thought he was in there. He was really engrossed, really engrossed. He didn't take a bathroom break. He thought he was in there for 3 hours, but it turns out he was in there for 12 hours. 12 hours, half a day. And so we're starting to see this behavior now with some of our beta tests where we're tracking session length, and we're seeing on average it's 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
People just stay in there the whole time and they become lost in it.
Yeah, I can believe that. All right, well, awesome. I hope you guys can grab Adam afterwards, and thanks for coming to New York
thank you
and
so much
showing
for
it
having us, man.
to us.
Really appreciate it.
Sweet. Okay, let's keep it going. Next up we have Treble FM.
Cool. All right. What's up, everyone? Thank you all so much for coming out today. New York Music Tech Meetup, thank you so much for having us. We are Treble, and we are super excited to be here today and to show you guys what we've been building. So first off, this is Ben. Ben is one of our lead developers, and he is also a bassist. This is Justin. Justin is my co-founder and also our product lead and also a guitarist. And my name is Matt. I am the CEO here at Treble, and believe it or not, I am also a rapper. So, exhibit A. Anyway, so for music makers like us, we actually live in an incredible time to create music. So thanks to advancements in modern music technology, it's become extremely easy to create music and to distribute music to fans. And so what we've seen is a huge explosion in the independent musician population. But these artists are scattered throughout the physical and the digital world. And as every artist knows, it's incredibly important for artists to build a large and robust Rolodex of creative resources in order to create music, in order to find opportunities in the music space, and also in order to actually make a living for yourself. And currently, the ways to do that are very difficult and inefficient. So that is why we created Treble. And every single facet of Treble and of the Treble ecosystem, whether it's our live events or whether it's our artist networking experiences, or even the iOS app that we're going to take you through momentarily. Every single aspect of our ecosystem has been thoughtfully designed to create and foster these meaningful connections. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic to Justin and let him take it from here.
All right, so the Treble iOS app, here it is. We've broken down the app into 4 sections. The first is the discovery section, which is focused on finding people. The second is the bulletin, which is focused on finding opportunities. The third is the connection screen, which is focused on managing your network and connections. And finally, we've got the profile and settings. So let's dive right into it. So the first section is the discovery. Now this is focused on finding people. So what we've got here is the entire Treble community at your fingertips of awesome artists and musicians. You can swipe through and get a feel for these artists, get their aesthetic and their sound, and get a feel for if you might want to collaborate with them. Now, the order that these artists are served to you is based on Treble's compatibility algorithm, which takes into account lots of factors which we think might be relevant for you in terms of collaborating with other individuals. Now, this is great for general browsing, if you're looking to find people in the community, people around you. But if you want to get more specific or you want to laser target your search, you can use the filters. So it's set to show everyone by default. But if I'm looking for something specific, so I'm a producer, and I've been working on this awesome track, but I think what would really take it to the next level is if I could find a female singer to sing on the hook. Now, there are not many easy ways to do that these days, but with treble, you can immediately sort by distance. I can tap female and singer, and I can save those filters. And now treble shows me a subset of those artists that match my filter criteria. Now, we've done a ton of research with artists about what factors really matter to them when determining whether or not they might want to work with another individual. And by and large, basically, those are what they sound like and what they look like. So that's exactly what we've given you on the treble discovery ecosystem. It's a stripped down yet super effective way to determine if you might want to work with another individual. Now, as I'm perusing through, if I want to get more information on any of these artists, I can tap their avatar and I can see more information, like you can connect your social profiles, or you can add descriptions, influences in your favorite album. So this is the discovery focused on finding people. The next stage of the treble app is the bulletin. Oh, sorry. One thing is, if I'm interested in an artist that I might want to work with, I can tap the plus button to connect with them. Now this sends them a connection request, and to avoid spam and increase the quality of the connections, we make these connections have to be mutually approved. So it acts more like a friend request than it does a follow. So this is how we discover individuals. The next stage is the bulletin. Now this is the epicenter of all the opportunities that artists in the treble community are posting for other artists to see. Now we had some hypotheses about why artists might use this bulletin, but we've been incredibly surprised to see all the different use cases that artists are actually using this for, which includes collaboration, promotion, buying and selling of services, and even gear. So if I've got a need, the bulletin's a perfect place for me to post. So let's make a post. So I'm a rapper, and I'm on tour. I'm going to be in Miami next week, but my DJ, my go-to DJ, actually can't come with me. So I'll be in need of a DJ. So I'll add the post headline, in search of a DJ. And I'm in New York right now, but because I'll be in Miami, I'm going to want to geotag this post. So I'll type Miami. I do have a budget, and it is a paid opportunity, so I'll select that checkbox. I can add description to the post, including pertinent details. And just like the discovery, I can actually target who I want to see this post. So in this case, I'll select DJ. I can add a photo to my post to make it a little more robust and interesting, and then I post it to the bulletin where the person or the types of person that I'm looking for specifically will be notified on their personalized, customized bulletin. Now, as I'm searching through the bulletin and I see an opportunity that I might be interested in, I can tap in for more information, and if I'm actually interested in pursuing that opportunity further, I can elect to chat with that person. And this is what the chat stage looks like. So the connections that you make across the discovery focused on finding people and the bulletin focused on finding opportunities, the creative network that you cultivate lives on the connection screen. Essentially, this is your epicenter of all the people you've connected with and your active messages with all these individuals. Now, something pretty cool about the connections list is that everyone's first connection, much like Tom from MySpace, if you guys remember that, is Treble HQ. So this is a generally basic chat mechanism, but down the pipe, in the pipeline in the future, we're super excited to build in some more features that make it really awesome for you as a musician to find connections, foster those relationships, and actually manage your network in a more robust and interactive way. The profile, finally, is where your epicenter, where you can define yourself. You can change it at any time, including your music, your descriptions, your posts, and your social channels. So that's the Treble iOS app.
Awesome. Okay. Questions for Treble?
Yeah, so as a musician, part of the reason why I don't look on Craigslist for places to play music is because quality, there's a quality issue. So how are you guys making sure that the people who are putting stuff on your app and looking for stuff, they're making high quality connections and not just
That's a great question.
I just started playing guitar last week and I'm looking for an all-star bass player to be.
So I'm going to start answering this question, and then I'm actually going to pass it off to Ben, but because there's two answers to that. So first of all, initially, the way that we are making sure that doesn't happen is we're actually curating our initial user base. So right now we're in test flight, we're in beta, and we've gotten over 1,000 artists who've applied to use the product, but we've only let a couple hundred artists on, and we've actually screened them for both quality of the music and also quality of the character. And so we have a number of different, again, it's very curated, the user base right now, and we have a number of different influencers and artists that are really enthusiastic about being a part of the community. Obviously, that's not scalable, and so when we launch publicly, Ben is actually going to walk through from a technical standpoint how we're handling quality control.
Yeah. So again, right now we have a pretty small user base, so we're kind of just using this to gather analytics, and we actually have like an in-house analytics platform which we've built specifically for this to look at all the different interactions and have a couple of heuristics for gauging the quality of interactions. And then we feed that back into the compatibility algorithm that was mentioned earlier for what to show up. So if you are a beginning guitarist, you're not going to be seeing people that have, accounts that have been around for a long time and have a ton of followers, or different things. So there's like some social metrics like that, and among other things. And again, right now we have a pretty small user base, so the data set that we're using to kind of train this compatibility algorithm is still fairly young, but we're ramping up. We're going to be leaving beta soon, and be a lot more bigger pond, and so we'll see how it performs there.
Cool. Who else?
Have you looked at like a piece of software like Splice that actually allows collaboration? Is there any aspect of that might sneak its way into your products?
Absolutely. So we actually
We actually have met some of the guys from Splice. We also have met some of the guys from Blend.io, which is a similar idea, which is digital online collaboration. So if you're in New York and there's a producer in San Francisco, you guys can actually work together. Just to clarify if anyone hasn't heard of those platforms. And where we differ is we're all about creating the connections that are sort of come before the music that are necessary for you to achieve whatever goal you want to achieve. But in terms of the actual collaboration, we see a ton of room for synergy with platforms like Splice and Blend, because first you need to find the people and find that you have chemistry and understand that you can actually make something awesome together. And then the next stage is actually making it. So tools like Splice and Blend and all these other digital collaboration tools that make it easy to work together are totally compatible. And there's a lot of overlap that we see lots of synergies for.
Yeah, absolutely, and we love those platforms also because we think that the proliferation of those platforms has offered a tremendous opportunity for us because maybe, say, 20 years ago, I wouldn't be able to collaborate with someone unless they lived in a close area to me, whereas today, what we're finding on the platform is people are able to collaborate remotely without ever actually even meeting each other, and that's a relatively new opportunity that's made it much more easy to facilitate meaningful connections. So we would love to work with them, as Justin said, whether we ultimately add those features ourselves or perhaps partner with them as well.
So based on the analytics that you've gathered so far from the artists that you've accepted into the app, do you find that people tend to collaborate on one-time projects, or do people use the platform more for like continuing collaborations, or is it really open to anything? Like, do you have a specific type of collaboration that you're trying to foster, or is it just anything?
Actually, that's a great question. So we've only been in beta for a little under 2 months, so the collaborations and the relationships that have been facilitated are relatively new. But we have seen people who have worked together in the past and who seem like they're looking forward to working together again. The genres where that tends to happen more frequently are electronic music and hip-hop music, just because of the nature of like those types of relationships. But yeah, I think I think we're okay at this point with continuing relationships and also even just one-off relationships as well.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah, that piece where you had a budget or no budget, do you offer a way for people to put an actual dollar amount to that, or If not, why not?
So that's a great question. So actually, that's what we intend to do as our business model. So we hope to create a marketplace of all these artists interacting because, as Matt said, you need a robust network to accomplish the goals that you want to do. But you may be as a musician, you may be a buyer and a seller at different times. You might have services, like if you're a guitarist, that you can offer to others, or you might have a gig opportunity that you're looking for others to join you that's paid back and forth. So our goal is to create a robust network of people buying and selling services, what have you. And that sort of price indicator is a way for us to test if people are interested in actually engaging in opportunities that do have a financial transaction associated with them.
I assume you charge a percentage or something.
Exactly. So the idea is this is a litmus test to see if people are interested in engaging with posts that have a transaction associated with them. And once we get sort of a little bit of a refinement in what types of artists that happens between and what are the most prolific collaborations that involve financial transactions, then from there we can shape exactly what the marketplace looks like. Whether you can put a price on a thing or you can negotiate after the fact once you've connected and then allow for a price. But yes, absolutely the goal is to ultimately include financial transactions for services, gear, opportunities, what have you.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Much appreciated. Good job. Awesome, thank you. And I hope you guys will come back again next year and give us a status update when you're live in the App Store and all that. Okay? So next up we have Shannon, who is she basically launched her app at the meetup 2 years ago? Yeah. And so we love having people come back and show us what's going on. What's the latest?
A Song a Day is a community of curators who handpick a song and deliver it to your inbox every day, Monday through Friday. You have two options. You can either choose your own curator based on your musical preferences or not your musical preferences if you want to kind of explore a different subgenre you've never explored before. Or you can choose what we call the random option, which is where I very subjectively pick a song from a different curator every day. So you're getting a song from a different genre delivered to your inbox every day. The coolest thing about our emails, in my opinion, is that with each there's context. Each curator is required to include a note. Sometimes that note is what they like about the song. Sometimes it's what they think you'll like about the song. Sometimes it's history. Sometimes it's poetry. One of our curators recently wrote an entire storyline for a week or two with a different character and how the songs played into that story. So what we're going to show you today, it's funny. I'm not quite ready. What we're going to show you today, it's kind of funny that we're presenting because it's pretty much the exact opposite of VR. It's not mind-blowing. It's nothing you've never seen before. But it has made our lives a lot easier. So as Seth said, we pretty much launched here about a year and a half, 2 years ago. We actually turned 2 on October 21st and had our second birthday party with a concert at Union Pool. Back then, we were all manual, or working manually in spreadsheets and MailJet and then MailChimp. Back then, we didn't even have the random option. So I was literally matching every single subscriber to a curator because I was overly intimate with what the curators were choosing. So it was very easy for me to look at these people's preferences and match them. And then about 12 of us were hand scheduling emails, 150 emails every week. We did that for almost 2 years. What I'm going to show you, we launched in August, but the reason why we were able to do that for 2 years is because I like to think of a Song a Day as a collective of people, beyond just me. I may be the solo founder, but we're a group of people who really believe in what we're doing and who believe in music discovery through humans, through people who you could see yourself being friends with back in high school, more than just algorithms, more than robots. So yeah, I'll, with that, walk you through what it looks like to sign up as a user, as well as what it looks like to curate. I'm the Ask My Friend Matt, and also curator, and someone who's been super helpful in designing tools along the way and websites and all that good stuff to hold the computer for me while I walk through it. You can also do this on mobile. Curator process is super simple on mobile. So is sign up. That said, sometimes it's just easier to do things on a computer.
What do you mean? So you want me to sign up?
Yeah, curators at Asana Day. There you go. Autofill. So we asked for your email. You go ahead and sign up. What should we call you? Matt. You know, anything else that Matt wants to tell us? And then, oh God, wait. So, fortunately, that's not true, I don't think. He could either pick just send me great music, which he's not going to do, but that would assign him to the random group, or he can choose his curator. He can pick a couple genres. Let's say you like start super broad, right? That's perfect. Indie rock, maybe. Yeah, and then throw in a shoegaze in there. Yeah, show me some curators. Right now, the results are all alphabetical. We're gonna randomize it soon, but you can read a bit about each curator, see their latest track sent. If you hit the back button, let's say he wants to try something that he usually doesn't listen to. So instead he goes with, yeah, and there we go. And so you see some of our electronic curators. And jazz, because he feels that he sometimes curates jazz, or curates electronic, and he probably does. They kind of have like full reign on what they curate, very little limitations. One of the recent songs. So let's say you can choose a curator. So thanks for signing up. Then you get a confirmation code, you click on, or confirmation email, you click on it. And then the emails after that point look. Oh God.
Here, no, I pulled it up right here.
Yeah. They look, that's the confirmation email. The confirmation emails with a song have like the song, the comment from the curator, and then you can hit reply with your feedback. We don't have a rating system right now for a reason. Qualitative just means more to our curators, and it starts a conversation and truly builds that community. If as a curator, I'm gonna go to, so I'm gonna show you my back end, which is a little bit different from a curator's back end, but you can get the general perspective. So let's say I'm gonna go curate for the group I curate for. To add a song, you just hit add a song. And let's say pull a link. So this will pull all the info you need. I'll say something about the song. Pick some tags. And this song is queued, and this is generally what your song queue looks like. You can see what's queued, what's been sent, when it's been sent. For me, this is my dashboard where I can see low queues. The reason why there's so many ones right now is because it's Thursday, and generally all of our curators curate over the weekend. So yeah, I'm not going to show you users because that, privacy. Both users and curators can log in and see subscriptions. I'm currently subscribed to everyone, so I won't scroll down. But you can unsubscribe and then resubscribe and go through the process as a user. But yeah, so super simple technology, but it lets us be able to do what we do, and that's pick songs based on from anywhere on the internet. We're also platform agnostic. We pull SoundCloud, Bandcamp, YouTube, Vimeo, Vivo, whatever else works. And yeah, that's a general. Am I forgetting anything? Oh. So a year and a half ago, when we first presented, we were at like 920 subscribers. Now we're over 6,500, and we were at like 30 curators with 100, 200 interested in being a curator. Now we're still at like 40, but with over 600 people interested in being a curator. Our next step, now that we have this very simple but functional technology, is to scale that curator community and therefore scale the user base, and really focus on letting people share their music with people and let them communicate and, yeah, engage over it.
Awesome. Okay, questions for Shannon? Oh, and a round of applause. Yeah. Sorry.
What's the criteria for becoming a curator?
The number one thing I look at is why they want to get involved. A lot of people pull the heartstrings or just like really love, are super passionate about sharing music, are musicians themselves. Yeah, that's the first thing I look at. I also like will cyberstalk a little bit and make sure that they're like a human, but that's about it. Yep.
Do you have any heavy metal curators, and are you looking for one?
We do have one. That's another thing. Our genres are like crazy specific, which is another reason why we want to add more curators. But we do have a heavy metal. Always looking for more, though.
Do you guys have a plan for like making money, business model, and you got it?
Yeah, so important side note. Asana Day's been a side project since day one and still is. Hopefully will not be forever. I think there's definitely a very like obvious projection of charging probably like $2 a month to like random's free and then $2 a month to choose your own curator. Like sponsorships added onto random would be step one. And then there's a bunch of ideas of what we can do as a community to like add more content and stuff.
Are the plans to integrate with Spotify, Apple Music, or any other paid services?
Thinking about it. As of now, no. Yeah, if we did, in my dream world, we would be a Bandcamp only platform because I love Bandcamp. I love that they give more music to the artist, but unfortunately the library is just not big enough. And they also don't have an open API. But so maybe Spotify one day.
Cool, one more question?
The genres, does the curator like just input like a word, or he has to select from a list, or you tell the curator what genre he is, or what's the story?
So right now, onboarding curators is very hands-on. Like I have an idea of what our listeners want. They'll email us being, do you have this? And from there, I generally I go through our list of people who are interested. I'm like, okay, so you're interested in this, you could be a good fit, but also is there anything else you want to curate? And it's just like, it's a conversation. And then we work together to figure out what that name is, and they'll write their bio. And we have tags that are attached to those very broad genres you saw up there when the user was signing up.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So this is awkward, but I get to introduce myself. I'm Seth Hillinger. I'm organizer of the New York Music Tech Meetup. I am also founder of my new startup here, and it's not that new, but it's new to you, and it's called Audio Drops. And Audio Drops is a location-based music discovery platform, experience, mobile app to begin with. And this is what it looks like. So real quick, I'll tell you what these circles are. These circles are drops that are nearby. And so when you click on one, it tells you how far away you are and who dropped it and what direction it's in. It's using the compass. And we can also scroll down and so yeah, I've created some drops. This is my user. And in my user profile, you can see what drops I created and when, but not exactly where. And So you could follow me. And what I'd love actually is for all of you to install the app in the App Store. It's called Audio Drops. Right now you have to make sure that there's no spaces and you put an S at the end. But as soon as Apple approves the next version, you won't have to do that. And what I'd love for you to do after you install the app is find the Music Texter user and follow him, because I created a little walk for us to do after this event. And I really don't want to tell you too much about it. It's kind of an experience that you need to just go outside and do. Like I can simulate my location for y'all on my laptop, but it's just not the same as going outside into the world and locking your phone, putting it in your pocket, putting your headphones on, and seeing a connection between what you're listening to and the world around you. So in that regard, it's kind of like augmented audio. The simple description for it is like Pokemon Go for music. Perhaps a little more adult than that. We don't really have any games. But anyone can leave a drop anywhere. So we can, if we search, say, DJ Shadow, I don't know. And I spelled it wrong. Let's try that again. DJ. Oh my God. There we go. So if you search DJ Shadow, it will query Spotify or SoundCloud, and we can preview it or drop it right here and leave a message. If you include a link in the message, it's clickable, and there's a small little map to confirm that that's where you're leaving it. But part of the fun is not having the map at all. We have a audio compass as well, which I don't think, oh yeah, you can hear it. So when you set your waypoint, that's the yellow drop. When you have headphones on, the compass will ping in your right ear when the drop is to your right, or in your left ear. And it just kind of makes some cool sound effects when you're going in the right direction. And that's about it. You can filter, well, that's not it. You can filter by everyone. You can see all the drops around you. Or you can just say, show me this user's drops, which they don't have any. But if I select Music Texter, you'll see the walking tour that I've created for us. So I hope after we're all done hanging out later, we can all go for a little walk. And it will lead us to a bar called Liquorette, and we'll have a little after party there. So, yeah, I think that's all I'm going to tell you. Yeah. You can connect Spotify and SoundCloud. If you do that, then it'll play the whole Spotify track. So do that. And and then of course you have your collection. So once you discover a drop, it gets added to your collection. And inside of that, you can see how far away you are from the drop right now, who left it, how many times you've been there, all that good stuff. And you can always listen to it again. And yeah.
We're not going to let you out of the building unless you prove that you downloaded the app.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah. I definitely wish that Apple approved the latest version, but you guys, I would love for you to just install the app, and then when the update comes out, check it out. And so that's Audio Drops.
Are you going to integrate any running or any apps like that where people, I can see us using that when you're running a 75% device?
Yeah, totally. What I would love is for curators who like to create playlists for running to get involved and then be able to share their profiles with people. And so if those curators have a running playlist and they have people that are already following them on Spotify or SoundCloud, then this is basically a new way for them to curate outside of those platforms. Yeah.
I love the concept of associating music with a specific place. Are you planning on allowing people to upload audio directly into it? if I'm at a place and I want to leave a thought in music,
Yeah.
just like from that place,
Yep.
is there any plans to do that?
The easiest way to do it is to use like a SoundCloud recording app, which there are many, and then post it to SoundCloud, and then we pull in your saved tracks from SoundCloud. So from a licensing standpoint, we're trying to avoid hosting any sort of music. Yeah.
Smart. I like the concept a lot too, like associating like a physical. It's like whenever I go somewhere or think of a memory, a lot of times like a song will play, right?
Yeah.
But I have Android, so
It's coming.
what are some what are a couple of your favorite drops?
Sorry?
What are a couple of your favorite drops?
What are a couple of my favorite drops?
Yeah.
Well, actually, so in creating the walk today, I've had a few interns help me out, but otherwise it's been me and a few advisors. One of the interns totally rickrolled me today. He left the drop in Chinatown. That was Rick Ashley, and it's sort of, so that was pretty funny. We've created a few experiences that are out there in the world. I forgot to mention that. One was for the Future of Storytelling, which took place about a month ago. There are two walks. There's one in Central Park that's all audiobooks about Central Park, and there's snippets from those books. That's really cool. It's something to experience. And then we also did the History of Harlem music walk through Harlem. So those are both out there in the world.
Working on the use case, I find that you can continue
Yep.
kind of have that big use case. Is there any desire to branch out into that space?
Totally. We're in contact with like a museum that's doing a retrospective on an artist, and maybe this would be a way to basically create an experience for people before they get to the museum or while they're there. We are using GPS, but if we hooked up iBeacons, which is kind of like an indoor experience, then we could go down that path.
How do you find the accuracy of GPS?
Pretty good. It's so we're doing a lot to manage your power on your phone, so it's not draining it when you're not like in an aggressive mode. It's actually using something called region monitoring, which is lower power, and then when you jump in, then it goes more into a GPS. And so when you unlock a drop, you have to be within 100 feet of that drop, and GPS.
Just like a 10-meter.
Yeah, is that 100 feet? Yeah. yeah. So that's it can be more specific, but it's basically this. A drop is basically the size of a street corner. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you created this experience in the league, and there's like a Central Park experience. Is there a sequential aspects to it? So you go to one point and then there's another point to get after that.
It's there in our API, but I haven't hooked it up yet. In part because I think that I want to see if people don't need it. In a way, it's kind of fun to just walk around and I don't necessarily want to guide you, that far. Yeah, but it's there in case we need to use it. Yeah.
Is there a cue? So like if you walked by several and you were still listening to one song, the other songs like, get queued up?
Yeah. So if you're listening to a song and you get to a location, it's not going to stop what you're listening to, but it will get added to your collection, and then you can listen to it again later. So that's kind of how we're handling that right now.
You have to be physically in a location to drop a drop. Or
Yes.
say I used to live in New Orleans and I want to put one by a house.
Yeah.
They are physically connected.
Yes. No, not on the mobile app, but that will be part of our enterprise level. So you can create a virtual drop, and that will be great for bands that are on tour, and or brands that have a lot of physical locations. Yeah, and so you'll be able to just kind of click around on a Google map and make virtual drops. Yeah. Or another use case is also sending the song to a friend or a loved one. So yeah, we actually, a lot of people really want to see that feature. So yeah, totally. Yep.
When do you think the Android piece is happening?
By January. Yeah. It's built in a hybrid platform called Ionic, so I'll be able to turn that around pretty quickly.
Do the drops have an expiration date? Are you ever worried about them getting like really saturated where there's too many things going on?
Yeah, it's a great idea, and we aren't doing that yet, but there might be that coming where drops have a life, and maybe if a lot of people like downvote it, it just disappears. The way it works right now is if you're in a saturated area, the most recent drop will play first.
Are they always public?
They
Can you make a private?
Yeah, private drops will come probably with like the one-to-one experience. Yeah, but yeah, right now they're all public. Awesome, thank you. All right. Okay, so we have one more demo, and then we're all going to get to hang out. Okay? So let me introduce Your Heaven close-up mic system coming from Providence, Rhode Island.
Hi guys, first of all, thank you Seth for this opportunity to share our exciting technology with all of you. Thanks Songtrust for this amazing location, and thanks to you guys for coming here. You guys are awesome. So huge round of applause for all of us. Thank you. My name is Prachi, and this is Steve, the founder of Your Heaven Audio. And we are from Providence, Brown University. Some quick questions. How many of us here have ever owned a musical instrument? By quick show of hands. Great, good for us. And how many of us here enjoy good acoustic music? Thank you. One of the reasons, as you just saw in the uprising of electronic music in the music industry, was because it is very difficult to amplify acoustic musical instruments. The current options available for musicians are either microphones or pickups. Pickups are transducers, which absorb mechanical vibrations from the instrument and convert them into electrical signals. The problems with microphones are that on stage, while performing live, there's feedback. Musicians don't know what angle to place the microphones at. They're either very expensive or there's crappy sounding, or there's isolation problems where you get all the sound of the nearby instruments too. The other option is pickup, which just by the mechanism of it, you don't get the sound quality and you have to sacrifice the original, authentic, warm sound of your musical instrument. So what we have is the solution. We have catered to the problems of both microphones and pickups and created and invented close-up systems, which we would demonstrate here. We have 5 granted patents, and it took product development of over a decade. I'm sorry?
Congrats.
Oh, thank you. So here we have, after the amazing performance, VR performance by Tom, he's helping us with our demonstration. And yeah, so Steve will help with the demonstration.
The basic technology is that we did a lot of acoustic research on a lot of instruments, recorded over 1,000 drums, which is where we started because I'm a drummer. Eventually moved to guitar because it's a much larger market and because the shift to digital technology enabled us to do that. We used to do these in analog circuits, which were painful and difficult. We still have some amusing versions of those analog versions in my basement. But the basic idea is that we sort of profile the acoustic signature. The data point is, what does it sound like? We do a sort of an interesting dual recording of it, and then compare those things. But it's based upon a data set that we've had over many years and sort of understanding what's going on in a particular instrument. And the final step is the actual profile of the specific instrument. So For a violin, actually, we can get away with a generic profile, but it will sound much even better, even more realistic if you profile your specific violin. For guitars themselves are already a more complex thing. You have 6 notes going at once. There are interactions that are very complex. So we always profile a guitar to the specific instrument you're using. And I'm not sure how loud this is going to turn out through there, so let me just turn it on. It's muted at the moment. I don't want that delay on it. So that's supposed to not be happening. All right, I'm going to have to...
Sounds like it's...
Yeah, it's okay. I understand. Would you just mute that for a sec? Okay, I'm just going to have to turn that off. Okay, try it again. There we go. Okay, so we were going to do a recording of it while it's happening, but we can't do that without delay with this laptop, so I'll skip that part. But this sounds like his instrument, right? Well, you've never heard it before, so how does that sound for... Just so you hear what it sounds like without it. I don't know this song. You want to sing? No, I'll let this sing for itself. Good. So that's the basis of what we do. We're not getting feedback here. We're getting a little bit of a hint of some emphasis on a couple of tones, partly because we haven't carefully placed this. Usually, a slight rotation. Actually, we're getting more out of this, I think. Right, a little bit of rotation very often cures that. But it sounds like the real instrument. And it's got a variety of advantages. If you're a singer-songwriter, there's somebody, I spoke with somebody today from NYU who's here. If you're in your dorm room and you want to record that guitar track and a bus drives by or the kid next door yells, "Go Mets," or whatever it is, that ruins that track. And it always seems to be when you finally got it right, you're not going to hear that. This is actually going to work well. It sounds pretty close to a really first-rate microphone. We have one early adopter who's moving to Oregon to do his next album. Is that me or?
Muting is.
You just mute that. So is that me talking through? Yeah, that's me talking through the guitar. Sorry. So he said he has a U87 and this, and he's bringing them both out there. He says they both get slightly different versions of it. That was just what he said. I didn't prompt him to say that. So these are gold signs for us.
Play the recording now.
No, we don't have one. So sorry, that didn't work. She wanted me to play a recording where you would hear a difference.
We're planning a live recording where we were showing you.
Yeah, but we.
That was my question.
Yeah. Yeah, so for live, so that would be recording live. You may not want to be listening to it while you're playing. That would be difficult. But that's not a problem with our device. That's a problem with the recording system I happen to be playing it out of. So if I was playing out of a different sound card, things that many of you are familiar with, I'm guessing. This plays in real time. The delay is very, very low, about a millisecond, a little bit more. The computer recording system introduces more, and since the computer was taking control of our box as its sound card, it was introducing delay. But as you heard, as soon as I got the computer out of it, it wasn't, and I could easily feed either a direct USB feed as an interface, which it is now, or there's a balanced line output, which will feed pretty much anything that you have and record into your own audio system. We have these things for string quartets, for all the instruments of a string quartet. It's pretty amazing to see a string quartet do this. There's a great demo on our demo page, yourheaven.net, where you'll see people playing a Beethoven quartet. I don't know if we can get that here quickly. But yeah, there's a variety of things like that. You'll see me playing guitar. I'm not very good at this, and then somebody whacking a drum behind it, and the drum just disappears when you listen to our microphone. Are you adept at getting to the page with the string quartet? Oh, good. So Prachi will be able to either listen to a mix of our devices as a live performance or choose whichever one she wants. This is a live recording. This is them playing in that room. That's the cello. That's the sound in a room with an Audio-Technica 822. That's ours, mixed. Pretty much bare bones. Thanks. You can see the advantages for this. If you wanted to make music minus one type recordings, do people still call them that? You know what those are, like practice recordings. So if you have a string quartet and you want to learn your part and play along with a trio, that has been done before, and in order to do that, well, you either put 4 people in 4 separate rooms. You can imagine how much violin and quartet players love doing that, or you can use this thing and then just drop one track out at a time. And use it for that purpose. On stage, we have a shot of Jossie. Can you go to the Arc-Iris? She doesn't have it. Okay. There's a demo that you'll be able to see online where somebody's playing an acoustic guitar, not different than this, but steel string, and she's on stage with a trumpet right there, and a drummer right there, and a bass player right there, and her monitor is right in front of her, and that's the only sound that is being fed either to the monitors or the front of hall, and yet she's doing fine with it. And when you listen to the isolated track, it sounds like Jossie's wonderful little guitar that she loves.
Demonstrations online.
Yeah, it's online. Right. Right. It's somewhere in there. It's that one up there, actually. So we're hardware, which is different than most of what we've been hearing tonight. Shall we go to questions? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
How many of these boxes have you made? How many do you have?
Of these little boxes, which are for individual instruments, we have 50 built and another 50 that we're building. We sort of put them together by hand. They're prototype boards. So we're somewhere in between beta and beginning to want to sell them online. We have a store almost set up, but not quite.
We have about 35 to 40 early adopters who are actively using it. We have been used at Newport Folk Festival. Touring musicians, professional musicians are using it. So we are growing, but right now we are in the beta phase. Yeah.
How does someone get one? Like, have an effect on the theory?
So we do take pre-orders, and we have this. So come talk to us.
Right. For people who have an immediate need for one or who are that interested, then we would love to get one in your hands if we can. The 30th is kind of close, but maybe we can. No, that's not that close. So please talk to us. I don't know that we can hand one to you forever, but we could get you one for your performance, and that's the feedback that we're looking for, too. That's great for us to know how it did fare in this club or that club. We're getting a fair amount of that, so another one is great. Pardon?
Rooftop.
Rooftop. Awesome. Yes. Hi.
That was awesome. A very basic question. Was the audio that we were hearing like the acoustic audio with everything else filtered out, or was it a synthesized version of the instrument?
No, it's real time, the actual instrument. It's going through a processor, which, as I say, it has an algorithm that understands what that instrument, what the important parts are, and is able to get them out. That's, yeah. No, there's no synthesis involved at all.
Yes.
Is it mostly EQing and filtering, or?
That's all.
That's sort of proprietary. It definitely involves some of those things, but pretty much anything you can imagine in the audio world that would include Fourier analysis and dynamic shifting here and there if we need it. It depends upon the instrument. Everyone turns out different. That's why it took so long, actually, is sort of understanding those points.
What's the price point there?
That's another good question.
So right now we are, as I said, we are in a beta phase. So it depends on what instrument you have, what you need for, and we have a discounted price. So it's $3. Yeah, absolutely. All of you guys would get discounts. It's about $349 for now. $349. Yes.
Do you have anybody use it as kind of like an effect processor? Like, say you had a nylon string guitar where you wanted it to sound like a Mark D35 or something like that. do you run into problems? Does the algorithm kind of show on that?
Well, so the algorithm gives you a really accurate version of what that instrument sounded like, and then whatever you do after that is going to be very similar to what you would do if you had recorded using a nice microphone and fed that signal into whatever your processing is. This does not fit in between. You don't take any mic you want, or the microphone is part of the chain or whatever transducer we use. So that feeds into this, and this gives you an output. And it won't muck up any other processing afterwards any more than whatever the original acoustic signal would. Yeah, there's nothing that weird in it. Yeah, I understand the question now. Yes.
So as a guitarist, like I can understand the sound quality that's different between this and an acoustic pickup. But for somebody who's not a guitarist, like why is this better than an acoustic pickup?
For me as a player, the sense, especially when I'm playing a sort of a delicate and very expressive instrument like this or a cello, I can't play a cello, but I wish I could. What I convey to my audience is partly based upon how I feel about what I'm doing at the moment. And I know that if I'm sitting in my room and I'm coming up with a song and I've rehearsed it 400 times and I've got it right and it's, there it is. It's this thing that I can express and people seem to be responding to it and they want to hear it, right? And then I come out on the stage and I start playing this thing and it's this kind of dull, flat sound. I'm not playing as well. I can get drunk and sort of just ignore that and try to, get into the feel of it that way. But there's nothing, for me at least, like the actual sound of that. Yes.
I can answer as I don't play a guitar, but for me, when I'm investing time and energy in my guitar, I want to maintain that natural tone sound of the guitar when I'm presenting it to my audience. I put a lot of effort in my music. I can imagine you do too. So yeah, for that. Can I take one question from the back? Yes.
Is there any application now or maybe in the future for vocalists?
For what?
Vocalists.
Yeah, we've thought about that. We're beginning to get enough questions so that we're looking into it. This started out in the drums, and the drum system is a very complex thing. It will take 12 separate drums, the parts of a kit, and it's expensive, and at some point or another, we just couldn't afford to keep developing it. When that digital shift came in, we could afford to do these individual units. That's what we concentrated on, and we concentrated on the biggest markets. We already had drums, so these little boxes will also work for a snare or a bass drum or a tom-tom or a cymbal. And people are beginning to ask about vocals, so we are beginning to think that we better start looking into that. But in terms of what people expect in terms of a microphone, the guitar was the big one. And the string quartet actually was an accident. I have a friend who developed something called Community Music Works in Providence, where they teach free string quartet lessons to underserved kids in poor neighborhoods. And these are kids and their families get involved in this music making in a way that transforms their lives. It's really amazing. And they did this amazing show once. You saw a clip of it there. It's explained better online if you go to the online spot, where they needed this. They were playing, what they did was they put a different speaker in each room of the house, and if you walked into the kitchen, you heard the viola coming out of an oven. And if you walked through the hallway, you heard the cello being played through the air conditioning system, which had a transducer on it. So you would walk through the house, different parts, and hear different parts of the quartet. And they needed real isolation for that, and they asked me to sort of develop a system for that. So that got me into the string quartet instruments, and I'm hopeful that it's actually going to be one of those blessings of helping somebody out, and it helps us out, because it turns out that there are a fair amount of people who are playing country styles, especially. None of them have anything that they're happy with. As soon as they get with a pop band or if they're playing amplified country music, they want something like this.
One final question.
Yeah, I realize this might also be proprietary, but what exactly is going on with the transducers themselves? There's only one transducer, or there's multiple?
We try to keep it down to one because we want to keep expenses low, but on some instruments we have found that we need more than one.
For guitars, we have one.
Yeah, so far we haven't found a guitar that required us to have more than one transducer, and that's a nice thing.
Okay, so thank you so much, and yeah, have a good night.
All right, that's it. We're gonna have Jay Killa play one more song, but does anyone have any announcements they'd like to make? Yes. Okay, good.
Hey. Hi, my name's Jolly. You see me videotaping there. So I want to ask, how many people here were born before 1970? See? Oh, good, one at the back. So you don't remember the time before, before the tech you know now, like in the 70s? And 70s was a revolution in tech when the Japanese gave everybody dual cassette recorders, and it was the first time when people could ever copy music. And at the same time, printing got cheap, and suddenly it was the first time you could actually go and take something to a printer and get it printed and make a flyer for your show. And so that was when things started to happen, and what happened was punk rock. And I happened to be right there, just doing that at the time. And so what I did was I started printing, and I made badges, and badges kind of took off with punk rock. And I printed flyers for shows, and then I got a dual cassette duplicator that was high speed so that people could do their demos. And this thing got pretty big in England. If I total up the number of badges I made 40 million badges. And I did all the bands that you heard about. I printed about several hundred fanzines. If you look at ID magazine, that was one of the first fanzines that I printed as a fashion fanzine. So this is something that was entirely forgotten about until there was a Facebook group that started collecting my stuff. And so then they got into it, and I've been saying, yeah, I did that. So what's come from that is someone found a big stash of them, that my stock boy stole one of everything and bought it. And here's the announcement. NYU Fails Library is going to do an exhibition of this stuff starting on December 15th for a month, which will be all of the stuff that I printed during punk rock. And so I'd like to invite everybody to come see it.
Jolie is punk to the core. He was selling these badges on the street in London. Anyone else who would like to? Do you have an announcement? Please, definitely. This is your moment. Okay, great. Jay, take it away.
All right, guys. I just want to say this was awesome seeing all the technologies and all the apps and companies that everyone's doing. Virtual drugs, man. I'm about virtual drugs. I'm going to do one more song. Does anyone here smoke weed? All right. So this is for those times that you smoke weed and sometimes you're in a social situation and it can get a little awkward. And I call it you're too stoned, basically. So this song's called Too Stoned. It's my new single. It's coming out next week, and it's about that. Yeah. I'm too stoned, I'm too stoned, I'm too stoned. I don't know, I'm too stoned, too stoned, too stoned. I'm too high, tell me why. I'm too high, I'm too high, I'm too high, too high, too high. Thought I was gonna call it quits, man. I took just a couple hits, man. Now I'm swimming in some quicksand. Thinking, who the fuck is this, man? Slick bandit, you would think I planned it. I'm just smoking weed and I could never understand it. And I can understand them staring at these two girls like, you guys friends? Life's a beach and I wanna have fun. Lay around in the sun, maybe do a bunch of drugs. I'm so awkward, what's up? I saw you a couple months ago. Hey. And they still don't know. Your boy's hotter than the bottom of moccasin pillows. Dropping an ill flow, shopping for dildos. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. You never know what you got till you're gone. I'm so stoned, I forgot what type of pot I was on. I'm too stoned. I don't know, I'm too stoned. Too stoned, too stoned. I'm too high, tell me why. I'm too high, I'm too high, too high, too high. I love it so I can't leave it. Like summer or Christmas season. Ooh. But now I'm mumbling when I'm speaking. And still I wonder what's the reason. Assed out, smoking bowls in a glass house. Pass out next to Pastor Matt on a black couch. And I'm praying that I make it. The weed gone Goliath, I'm just trying to be like David. Hallucinating, having trouble conversating with the strangers in this basement. And I'm feeling way too faded. My palms sweaty, knees weak, mom, I'm ready. Can you come get me? I don't know where I am. I've been gone since 10:15, yes, I mean PM. And now I'm sitting here in silence without any of the lambs, damn. Whatever happened to the good highs? I'm too stoned, so this is goodbye. I'm too stoned. I'm too stoned. Too stoned. Music tech, let's go. I'm too high, tell me. I'm too high, I'm too high, I'm too high, too high, too high. I'm too stoned. I'll never give up the drugs. 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 Music tech, what's up? Thank you, guys. My name's Jay Killer. You can follow me on Instagram at JKILA and download my mixtape. Have a good night. No, I'm just joking. Everyone says that. I don't have a mixtape.